What's happening, y'all? This your boy, Mr. Short Dude himself, Mike Martin of Short Dudes Entertainment, bringing you open mic comedy nights every single Wednesday night inside In-City Sports Lounge, hosted by my partner in comedy, Mr. Jermaine Whitty, y'all. Now, this next comic we're going to bring to the stage, this is his first time ever on stage. He going to tell us a story that is absolutely hilarious. Y'all put y'all hands together as Short Dudes Entertainment presents Mr. Reggie King.
I'm going to tell y'all some stories, right? I'm working on a book, all right? The book is called The Misadventures of Mr. Dumbstick, all right? Now, Mr. Dumbstick is loosely me, right? And it's me as a youngster, like, I don't know, 13 to maybe 30, or some shit like that, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's just stories about bullshit I got myself into, right? So one time I'm online, right? And I'm just getting used to the online dating scene, right? So I didn't know you're supposed to, like, get pictures and see what motherfuckers look like. You know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm a meter, and I imagine people are honest, and, you know, they're going to say they are who they are, because that's what I was doing, right? So I'm talking to this sister for a while, and luckily enough, she sent me some pictures. She looked good, you know, and I sent her some pictures. She felt the same way. We chit-chat for a while, and it goes on for a month. She never let me call her, right? I could never get her phone number, right? So I'm like, well, damn, that's kind of strange, but I'm a writer, right? So she write poetry, I write poetry, and we go back and forth. And I mean, all the while, she could be some 300-pound white dude playing with his dick. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you know, fuck it, we're going to see what's happening, you know? So one day I get home from work, right? And I'm like, look, you know, I'm going to go check my email, see my little joint from her and see what's happening, and go ahead and do my thing. So I check it out, and she's like, I want you to come beat the brakes off my ass tomorrow. You know, so I'm like, yeah, shit, that's exactly what I've been waiting for this whole time, right? I've been fucking around all this time, right? You know, so I'm like, okay, cool, that's a cool look, right? So I can't call her up, so I'll get online. I'm looking for her, right? So I find her online. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to come beat the brakes off that ass. Mañana, like a motherfucker, just like you said. You know what I'm saying? We got a deal, and don't be fucking with me like that, right? You know? So she's like, okay, cool. I said, but first I got to talk to you, because once again, you could be 300-pound white dude, dick in his hand. I'm not really checking for that. So she's like, well, okay, I'm going to call you, but when I call you, it's going to be a surprise, right? So I'm like, how long have you had your vagina? You know? And so, I mean, is that motherfucker relatively new, or you know what I'm saying? How long have you had this motherfucker, right? You know, she's like, I'm all woman. I'm like, okay, but I mean, are you like all woman, all natural, or this like the $6 million bra? You know, build a bitch workshop or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I wanna know what's up. So, you know, so she says, okay, no, I'm gonna call you 9 o'clock. So I'm at the house, and I smoke weed. If y'all ain't seen the Chinese going on, I smoke. I smoke weed, right? So I smoked some before the phone call. I had some Luther playing in the background and shit, you know. Everything is smooth. I got my voice a couple octaves deeper, you know. I'm testing it. How you doing, babe? You know, drop some bass and shit. And so, you know, phone rings, 9 o'clock, Luther playing. I answer the phone. I drop the bass. And it's this white lady, right? And she's like, hi, this is operator 5732 for the hearing impaired. All right? So I'm like, wrong number. I'm about to hang up on this chick, right? You know what I'm saying? And so she says, you know, this is for Michelle. I put her name out there, but Michelle ain't here. And if she is, she can't hear me and shit. Real talk. But, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. So she's like, she breaking it down. I heard her name, so I'm like, oh, shit, she's deaf, right? You know, so I'm like, oh, damn. What I'm going to do? You know, do I A, hang up on this motherfucker and just cut my losses, or B, be Commander Good Dude and just say, well, hey, I've been talking to her for like a couple of months. I might as well see what she about. She can't hear, but I can see what she about. She can see what the fuck I'm about. Right. So anyway, Shell on the phone and shit. And the lady says, what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and say over after everything you say. You're going to speak, and then after you speak, say over, and then that'll be my cue to speak, and I'll translate for Michelle. Now, I smoke weed, right? So I mean, like I said, I smoked some weed before this happened, and this is some curious shit. I ain't never had no shit like this happen, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I'm on the phone, and, she's like, first thing Michelle said is, do you want to stick your big black dick in my ass? Now, there's a white lady, all right, who I don't know, who's translating this shit verbatim. Do you want to stick your big black dick in my ass? So I'm loaded. I'm laughing my motherfucking ass off, right? And then I'm trying to kind of mask that shit because I'm laughing. But I'm like, can she hear me laughing that I'm laughing harder? Because I realize she can't hear a motherfucking thing. Right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, well, damn, this is some funny shit. So I'm like, well, I don't know about, sticking my dick all in your ass. What time you want to get together tomorrow? I'm trying to change the conversation up a little bit because I'm caught off guard, admittedly. Ordinarily, I'd have been like, yes, I'm going to stick my big black dick. All up in that ass, But I'm like, nah, I'm going to feel her out a little bit because the white lady talking, she kind of throwing me off and shit. So she's like, what's your favorite position? And she asking me all kind of compromising shit. And to this white lady's credit, right, she maintained character the whole motherfucking time. I'm laughing, I'm loaded and shit. I done got into the fact that this broad can't hear me laughing, so I'm kind of like, this is just sadistic. I'm just laughing. But this lady was just, she would say the freakiest shit, whips, chains, and automobiles and shit. She would say whatever the fuck she wanted to, would never break in character. So long story short, I go ahead and make my day. I get off the phone. I'm thinking, well, damn, am I really going to go through with this? And I thought, well, man, Reg, she seemed like cool people. She's intelligent. You've been talking to her for a month or so, a couple months. You might as well go on a date with her. So it wasn't no date. It was a booty call. But I went to her house anyway, right? You know what I'm saying? So the next day, I ain't got to work. I go to her house. I smoked some trees before I went to her house. Because that's kind of the theme of what I do every day. You know what I'm saying? I smoke trees. So I smoked some trees. I rode to old girl's house. I get there and shit. I ring the doorbell. And then it dawned on me. Motherfucker can't hear, right? so I'm like, well, goddamn, So I guess some lights went flashing or some shit because she came to the door, right? So the first thing she does, she look at me, I look at her, she's beautiful. She looked like her pictures and shit, right? So I'm like, well, damn, this is actually some cool, romantic Hallmark type motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at her, she look at me, and she says, you look very handsome. Right? So I said, I'm going to hell, I know, but come on, man. I'm just telling y'all what the fuck happened. Real talk, real talk. She said, you look very handsome, right? So I'm like, what did you say? So she said, you look very handsome. So, I repeated that old bullshit, what you say, you look married, what you say, So, we went back and forth and shit. till it dawned on me what the fuck she was saying. She said, you look very handsome. And I was like, well, damn, you're very beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, it's all Mark shit again. I got the violins. You know? Everything's cool, right? So I come into the house, and every time I'm talking to her, she want to make face-to-face contact with me, right? She wants just to lock on to me, right? So I'm like, all right, well, you know, every time I'm talking, sometimes I drift off and shit. And, you know, I'm shy, even though, you know, baby got me in front of a bunch of motherfucking strangers. You know what I'm saying? Actuality, I'm not really that contact with her, you know? So she kept holding my face to hers and shit, making me talk to her so she could read my lips, and that was some sensual shit, you know? So she kissed me, and I was digging that. And she had some big old soup coolers, and the nigga liked to get some sugar, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, everything kind of led into one thing. So she kind of got up and she said, you know, do you want to go to the room? We got a language barrier and shit, you know? So I'm like, well, what'd you say? She said, do you want to go to the room? And I said, I can't understand what you're saying. She said, do you want to go to the room? Right. So I'm like, oh, do you want to go to the room? So I'm like, hell yeah. You know, fuck it, we already doing this thing, right? So anyway, I take her to the room. She got a porno playing. It's loud than a motherfucker. This motherfucker loud than a motherfucker, right? You know what I'm saying? And I got the heart to tell her that this motherfucker's bumping, right? So we go into the room. She got a dildo. She got a vibrator. She got one of them little egg things, y'all freaky motherfuckers. I love y'all. Be using this shit, you know what I'm saying? And she got like condoms. Everything's ready, right? She been planning this for a couple months, you know? So we did that. I ain't gonna get all graphic because my man was giving me the light like, hurry your brand new ass the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we did that and we doing it from the back, right? And I'm hitting it, and so she's like, oh, muck me candy, muck me Carter keys, muck me keys, right? So I was smoking some weed, like I said. So I'm laughing my motherfucking ass off, right? But I maintained stroke and shit, which was even funnier to me, right? So I'm like, damn, I'm laughing. I still got my stroke on. She can't tell I'm laughing. This is just wrong as hell. You know what I'm saying? So she's muck me Carter, muck me keys. I'm about to come. Goo. So I was mucking the shit out of her, right?